Welcome back, guys. Here we are. Got a mustache going on here today, full mustache. Hopefully, we got everybody back from yesterday. Appreciate you guys. I did see that you guys were already waiting for the live, so that was awesome. We have a bunch of new members, so welcome all of our new members. We actually have some new mods as well, so I want to thank you guys for helping us out tonight and in general. Hello to all of you. We're back. What a process last night was. What a process it was. Hopefully you guys can hear me and see me tonight. We shouldn't have any tech issues. Wi-Fi should be good. Everything should be good. Welcome to the stream. So if you guys were here last night, we were going over this interview. I am to the T at exactly where we stopped. So if you were here last night, you know it was taking us a while. We're gonna walk slowly through it together. Okay. We got another drink going on. We're ready to go. So it's good to see you guys. I'm glad you're here. We do not have a baby yet. Not yet, Linda. We are on what is called high alert. And it's where you just every 2 seconds you think you're going to have a baby and you never know. So I'm constantly asking Kelsey, you can ask her. I'm always like, are you okay? You feeling good? Is everything good? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. But she's having some contractions. We're definitely close. You know, it's going to happen at any point. So we're ready to go. Good evening to everybody. Good to see you. Yeah, we're just going to jump back into this, guys. We were about 40 minutes in when we stopped last night. So we are going to jump right back in. I think there was possibly a little bit of confusion. I just wanted to clear that up in this video, that this is the continuation of the same reaction. It's just 2 parts because it was just getting super long last night and late. So we are all good, though. We're ready to go. Hope you guys are ready. I'm going to jump back in. I'll be reading your chats, and we'll kind of do what we did yesterday. So let's just get right back into where we were.
Stay here, right? Jesus gave me a job.
Okay.
Lucifer has done every single thing to get me to take my own life because that is his goal. If I leave here, I cannot do my job for Jesus, right? The only thing I have to do for Jesus is stay here, right? He needs me here to help people.
Right.
Now, there's 8 women in my pod right now facing the death penalty. Okay, 8 women in this little jail. I help them every day.
Okay.
I help them doing their workouts. I help them doing all these things. I help them with their cases. Whether Jesus needs me to help him and serve him in primary or in prison, he asked me to do this for him. Now, the media flood that has come against me, right?
Thank you, Ariel.
The media flood that has come against me is from Lucifer, right? He does not want this job done. He does not want me to help these women. He does not want me to uplift them and strengthen them and help them hold on until he comes again to rescue us all.
Right.
He doesn't want that.
Okay.
So he wants me here.
Okay.
And he's taken everything away from me like he took away from Job. The only thing wasn't allowed to do to Job is what?
Kill him.
He wasn't allowed to kill Job himself, right? Yep. But he was allowed to do everything to make Job want to kill himself, right? Everything.
Right.
So it is a personal attack on my family because Jesus asked me to do a job for him.
Okay.
So that is my...
Yeah, so at this point, she is trying to convince me that Jesus gave her the job, I guess, of staying on the earth. That was a really confusing thing. She said that I didn't realize till just now. She said, my job is to stay here. So meaning continually stay here. I think that's a really interesting point for her to make. No Red Bull tonight. This is Coke in a cup and a tumbler. I was scared because the Red Bull had my wings flying last night. It was really hard for me to fall asleep. So I had to chill with the Red Bull. Plus, I already had pre-workout today. I don't want to go crazy with it. Okay. Kelsey said, and to lead the 144,000. Good question. Good question. That was something that in this interview that we did not get to. It's not clear what my mom said her mission was. Again, we're talking about this because there's so many confusing points. And what she's saying to me is not what she had been saying to others. She's not what she kind of says something different to every person. So this conversation is very, very confusing, and it's nothing about what I heard her say to other people. So in my mind, when I asked her this question, I even hate seeing the word now in my mind because of how she said it. But when we had this conversation, when part of the interview was to get, as many answers as possible. And the conversation was weird because I thought that she thought that her and Chad were supposed to usher in like the whole entire second coming. And then now there's all these pivots. So I don't know if she pivoted away from Chad. I don't know if she's distancing herself now and her faith away from him. Maybe that's just what it is. I don't know. So I can't really explain to you what she's saying here. It's just very inconsistent. People are noticing the stash. Yeah. You like it? We got Lemir's latte shirt going on here. Can't beat this. France latte. This guy's embroidered in. It's got a whole, it tells you how to make a latte on the back of the shirt. Real informative. If you're standing behind me, you're going to know exactly what to put in it. Okay. So I hope that that's good. Yeah, again, part of processing this is realizing what she's telling me personally. And I'm hearing new stuff, even though I've listened to this a few times. I'm hearing new stuff as we're going through it together. So let's keep going, guys. We're doing good. We're already 40 minutes in.
Belief that he has taken every single thing I've ever said and twisted it. He's taken every truth and turned it into a lie, taken every lie and turned it into a truth. So, yes, that is what I feel like is happening.
Okay.
I will continue to do my job, whether I have your support or not, although I would love that.
What's really interesting is I'm trying to figure out what her job is. What is she saying her job is? What is she explaining to me? Because she doesn't ever make it clear to me. She never says, I'm here to do this job. She said that Jesus gave her a job, but she never specifies what the job was. So there's no clarity in this conversation. There's no clarity here at all.
And one day, everyone will know that that is true, and that's what happened.
I hope you can listen to what I have to say as well.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I've done a lot of praying. I've dreamed dreams of me delivering you from demons. I've in those dreams every time I yelled at you and we screamed, and then I would perform a deliverance on you, and I would call things out of you. I do not share your beliefs.
Thank you, bro.
And this is after a lot of pondering and praying on my own. After everything happened, I started to read the New Testament, and I wanted to trust
Thank you, guys.
you before I found out. I wanted to believe that Kylie and JJ were walking around somewhere, maybe in a barn. I don't know. I couldn't understand what you were doing. And I tried to just keep saying, you know what? I'm going to trust my mom. I'm going to trust my mom. I'm going to trust my mom. When I found out what happened and I started to see everything, I gave you a call. And in that call, it was very confrontational, but I felt like I wasn't judging you. And a lot of times you said I was judging you and you think that I was with everybody else and I'm like the media. And I'm glad that I called you now because I have my head on straight. And I can tell you that after a very long time of listening to what has been in the documents, these are the things they recovered from you and from Chad and these things, it doesn't make sense to me. And none of it is biblically based. And I know you have a different viewpoint, but you and I are on completely two different, it's black and white. It's that different.
I I'm trying to. I really should have been a little bit more, I guess, cutthroat in a sense, like just more clear with her. I think I wasn't being as clear as I should have been. Again, like I said, I was walking on eggshells, but now that I'm hearing myself, I wish I would have said it a little bit even more clear. Like if that makes any sense, because she didn't really tell me what she believes in the beginning. She said that I know what she believes from when I was growing up, and basically things that she's told me all her whole life. We both know that's not true. We both know that that's not even close to true. That's not been the case at all. And so, in every shape and way, you've changed, and you just don't want to admit that you have. And I think that that's probably one of the hardest things here is that there was absolutely zero revolution resolution. Zero. There was zero anything that could have bridged our gap or even anything. So I planned at the end of the interview to really right around this time to, I think, to kind of just say my piece, thank her for what she did do for me, the good parts of her, and then that was really it, because this conversation got me absolutely nowhere. And you can hear the dancing, and it's actually crazy to listen back to it with you guys, because you guys see it at the same time as me, and you're realizing with me more and more just how much of a circle this is. It's really getting us nowhere. So let's keep going. We're doing good.
And a part of me struggled for a very long time to try to remember the person you were before all this, and try to remember that you did care so much, and it felt like you loved us and you tried to protect us, and you were just a different person. And I understand
Wait
that
for
you
this.
believe that these are the things, and you know what? We're not even going to have an argument about that, because there's no point. There's not going to be me
Absolutely.
sitting here telling you this and this. But I will tell you fundamentally and 100%, after praying a lot about it and everything over the last few years, I do not agree with what you believe. And I
Thank
don't
you,
think
Noah.
that
Yeah, but you don't even
Appreciate
know
that.
exactly what I do believe, honey. Like, you're saying that because you're going with what everybody else has said I believe. But
well, I
those are
read
not
it.
my actual beliefs.
Right. But believing that someone is a zombie or I know you said you didn't say
That
that,
is not my belief.
but believing
That is not my belief.
That's 100% her belief. Thank you for your comment, Michelle. 100% true. And just had to learn that the hard way. We had to learn that. I had to learn that the hard way later on. And this conversation was a really good point, as it kind of put me back in a realization what it was like being a kid, you know. And I think we all do that as adults. I think that at some point in your life, you start to just reflect and you start to think about certain things. I think there's parts of your life where you either notice it in someone else. You know, it's so funny. I'm gonna say Kelsey knows exactly what I'm about to say, but there was a part, and we were watching the show Baby Daddy, and we've seen it a few times, right? It's just like a comedy show. And in the show, the mom and the oldest son's dynamic, right? Her son's like a professional hockey player, and the whole time she's very like, she just always finds a way when she's wrong to make his name's Danny, the character's name, make him Danny always end up somehow apologizing, because she'll be like, she'll say in the TV show, the mom will say something like, I did everything for you to make sure you could be a professional hockey player and blah blah blah, and he ends up apologizing, even though she pulled that out as a gun on him to make him apologize for her being wrong. So I think that that's exactly the type of stuff that I started to realize, like, whoa, this is ridiculous. Like, that part of me always apologized. I always apologize for everything. And I just feel like, why are you always apologizing for something? And why do you feel the need to like just immediately apologize? It doesn't make any sense. And if it's an apology like that, where you're just throwing it out there because you feel the need to apologize, then I don't think it's sincere anyway. So I think a real apology comes from your heart, and you say it because you mean it. So the show is called Baby Daddy, and it's actually, I'll recommend it to you guys. It's actually a pretty good show. It's funny. It's lighthearted. It's just one of those shows you kind of watch, and whatever episode you're on, you don't really care, because it's kind of one of those shows. But you see the dynamic between the mom and the son, and that was one of the big eye-opening things to me, is just how she talks to him. And I'm like, I had that on steroids. You know, the conversations I had with my mom were always somehow, everything was always flipped back over to like, I've done everything for you and I've done this for you. And it's like, you just can't, you don't do that. You don't flip everything back over. So this though, I will be honest, this is the highest level I've ever experienced for me. So that's probably why it was so hard facing this after the interview, and facing it now. It's taken a lot of realization and a lot of time to realize how ridiculous this was, because this is not okay. And the fact that we're doing this dance is crazy, because I'm not participating really, but I'm trying to get answers out of her. And this is what I had to wait until she would finally stop talking, because it was just word vomit. All right, let's keep going, guys. We're doing good.
Even that, I mean, even with what happened with Chad, you know, I thought that all these things were happening, and all this time you were talking to him.
Absolutely
and then,
right.
You know, I was mad at my dad, and I stopped talking to him because I was mad, because I thought he hurt you, but you were talking to Chad too. That's not right. And those things aren't right. And I don't know everything. Like I told you, I'm not arrogant to sit here and say I know everything. And I wanted to give you the platform to say your piece. But my piece is this as well. I do know you, and none of this is congruent to the person that raised me.
Yeah, she knows that. And that's why I'm telling her that. That's why I'm telling her that. This is a good question. I am not LDS. I am a non-denominational Christian. That faith journey is something we will probably get into either on this channel or maybe on my God Overwatch channel at some point. It's definitely part of the passion that it is included into this part of what we're talking about, what the space is, because a lot of this is a religious thing with my mom, and I really am interested in the spiritual aspect and the religious aspect of this. So we will dive into that kind of stuff later on, because I think it's a huge part of this, and I think there's a lot of spiritual confusion in this world, and I think that it's really important to really understand and have a base and really get to know Jesus. That's where I'm at with that. We've got some new members. Pearl, welcome to the Warriors. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And again, it almost feels scary. Like maybe a part of you is, I've felt scared that I could fall off, or it's like, is this possible? Is this something that can happen to you over time? The truth is that to get to this point where my mom was, you have to start walking down a very deep path, and you have to keep continuing. There's something that's very interesting about how the devil works, and it's really the same thing. How to explain this the best way? Let's start with God first, and we'll go over to the devil, because the devil and God are not equals, right? God gives you the opportunity to make your own choices. You are 1000% able to make your own choice. Now, the devil rips God off and does the same thing. The only way the devil can do anything is if you give him the room, if you keep inviting him in, if you open that door where you're allowing him to have that freedom in your life. You have to invite him in. Now, God, he's obviously different. He's omnipresent. He's powerful. He can reach you in a different way. But when it comes to Satan, you have to invite him in. Hence why he was trying to tempts people, tempts everybody, and then on top of it, try to tempt Jesus. How stupid do you have to be to tempt Jesus and tell him, hey, I'll give you everything? Yeah, I only created the world. Come on. I mean, the devil's not the smartest guy, but the reality is that you have to give him room. So to go down a path like this deep, a part of you has to want to be there. And that's a very, very hard reality to realize, that no matter what she says in this call, she's not serving Jesus Christ, and she can say it and scream it at the top of her lungs for the rest of her life, but it will not change the facts. And the facts are, none of it can be backed by the Bible. That's simple. That's simple. Anyway, sorry, that was my little tangent right there. Becca is a warrior. Hi, Becca. Hi, everybody. Absolutely. Absolutely. And guys, this is the whole point, is that you got to have other people. because other people can help you. If you have true friends, biblical friendship is an amazing thing because people will sit there and tell you what's best for you. And I think that that's the point, is that she needed friends to really, even if you're slipping like this bad, if you're being this deceived, you need people to say, hey, this is not the right thing to do. You're not going down the right path. But the problem is that group all got together and actually, I think, hyped each other up. So all the people who are believing in what Chad thinks and believes and what he was pitching, they were all in a group hyping one another up. And I think that that just can also be a horrible thing, right? It's almost like a mob mentality. And it's really sad for those people, because look at what the outcome is. Look at what it costs you to do this. And look at what it costs everybody else. And that's how you know this is nothing like Job. Job served God like no other and was allowed to be put in that position. This is not the same thing at all. At all. So anyway, let's keep going, guys. Sorry for that little tangent, but I thought that was important to bring up. I appreciate you guys' chats. We're going to stop in a few minutes and keep reading through them, but I don't want to keep pausing because I think we're only 44 minutes in. We're 44 minutes in. We started at 40 and it's been 20 minutes. So we're going to jump in a little bit more. Susie sent in a chat. You should talk to Collier Landry. I actually just saw his story. It's really hard when you realize that other people have, gone through hard things, and I definitely feel for him. I really hope that, and anybody who's been through something like this has a life outside of it and can continue to heal. Yeah, I hope the best. I hope the best for anybody who's been through something like this. So anyway, let's keep going, guys. We're going to keep busting through this. And I think that we are going to pause in a second because I think this is the point in where, she's going to say something ridiculous.
None of it. Nothing.
When did I change? I would like to know when you thought that this miraculous, after 50 years of being a wonderful mother, that I turned into this.
50 years of being a wonderful mother. I'm 28 years old. Okay. I'm your oldest son. So how have you been a mom for 50 years? You're barely over 50. I think she's 52. What does that mean? Have you been a wonderful mother? And again, I'm not trying to just create hate here. I'm just pointing out like exactly what I mean is that these points don't make any sense. Even what she's saying doesn't make any sense. And it's very interesting that she's calling herself a wonderful mother. That's usually a referral you get from somebody else, right? That's somebody else referring to you, not something you would necessarily, like, I'm not going to go running around saying, I've been a wonderful father for 5 years, right? That's a very odd thing. Very odd thing to say to me. Exactly. That's exactly my point. Kels, sweetie. She hasn't been a wonderful mother for 50 years because she's been a mom for 28 at the longest. So just wanted to point that out there. I think that also kind of gives you guys more context that this conversation is very nonsensical. And that what she's saying, she doesn't even have her mind wrapped around what she's saying. So it really is very confusing, and it's very, very hard to realize how in and out the mental state really is here. Very deteriorated, even from, I feel, almost from the last time we had a conversation. So let's keep busting this out, guys.
Horrible person. Like, what?
No,
When do you think that happened?
Can I be honest with you? I think you were beyond deceived. I think spiritually you were horribly deceived by a man who
Do you
saw.
think that standing in the room with Jesus Christ, that he deceived me, that I could be deceived after being in the room with Jesus? Do you think that I could personally be deceived?
I don't think that this is a commission of Christ. And I'm sorry to tell you that. But I want you to know that because I want this to be
It's a commission of Lucifer.
You're dang right it is. You're dang right it's commission of Lucifer. Nothing. Here's what's even worse is what's really interesting is, yes, I had a lot of questions about Chad. I was very curious. I don't even know if she would have answered this. I don't know where she's at with him now. I don't know if she still believes in him, if she's just dipping out, whatever the case is. But it's very interesting for her to just only now refer to herself. She's only referring to her relationship with Jesus. She's only referring to where she stands spiritually. And I think that's a very interesting point because it's almost trying to cut straight to validation, right? If somebody's saying, this is from Jesus himself, he stamped this, this is from him. Can you really argue with that? Right? I mean, like from a spiritual perspective, because that's kind of what she's trying to do. She's trying to say, this is from Jesus, and when we get to heaven, you'll find out. She's trying to leave it at that. I saw someone said, are you able to put captions on the call? Yeah. Would you guys like that? We could throw some captions on this call. Would that be easier for you guys to see it or understand it? It is not, like I said, the quality of the call is not great. But anyway, let's keep going. We'll keep busting this out. We're doing good, guys. I will do that for you. Just turn those on. Here we go.
Life miserable. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's not from Christ. Christ lets things happen and strengthens you through it when he attacks you.
Okay.
This is not done from Jesus. This is Lucifer attacking our lives, my life, and including your life because you are my child. So you have also been attacked, and I am very sorry for that. There's nothing I can do. I leave it in Jesus' hands to handle it because he is strengthening us through this attack. It's just like he let it all happen to Job. Why did he let Job get to that point? And
I didn't even realize that she was saying us. That's interesting. She's being very specific, and she's saying us. Hi, Valerie. Yes, this is part 2 of the reaction from last night. And I'm glad you guys are here. It's good to see you guys. Yeah, it's very interesting because this stuff, it's in the moment slides or goes over your head a little bit just because you're not really paying attention to every little thing. But she's saying that I'm experiencing this from her being my mother. And that's a very interesting point as well, because now it's trying to say, because you're my special son, you're going to suffer like I have to. And she says it later in the call. But she's still grouping us together as very, very special. Let me be very clear with you guys. I am not a unbelievably special spiritual person. I am not better than anybody. And this is just crazy to try to pull me in like I believe that me and her are just on this plane by ourselves. So again, we talked about this yesterday. It kind of just really pulls me back to what I said, which is this conversation being about constantly putting us, and well, mostly her, on a planet by herself, completely isolated. Nobody knows what she's gone through. No one's ever experienced anything that she's experienced. She's completely an anomaly, right? A complete anomaly. Oh, you get Kels going, she will get going. That girl, she will get going. I love it. Okay, let's keep going. We're doing great.
Suffer so much. Why did he have every single thing taken away from him? Why? Why did he let all those things happen? He has a purpose.
Right.
And he told me, this is what Jesus told me 20 days before I was
We're going to talk about that in a second,
arrested
Eleanor.
in Hawaii.
Okay.
Jesus came
This
to
is
me.
definitely a hard thing to
He has
talk about.
several
We'll talk
times
about
since
it.
I've been in jail, but he came to me 20 days before I was arrested, and he said this, Lori, there is a purpose for your whole life. It is my purpose, so trust it. What do you think I thought at that time? They were talking about arresting me, and I knew I hadn't hurt anybody. I knew I never would hurt anybody. But so I didn't think I was going to get this. And he's going to make it known to the world what his purpose is in his due time. Whenever he feels like doing that, you will know. And I want you to know right now that nothing is more important to me than you.
Yeah, let's stop right there. Oh, there's a lot to digest in this. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to what Eleanor put up there, and I didn't know we'd address it tonight, but she said it, and yeah, she's putting me in position almost like I think I've been put in the husband role before in her life, like the man role in her life as a child, and it's not something you should ever put your kid in position to be. I was not a grown man. I'm not her husband. I'm not her anything other than her son. And that was a very hard thing to come to a realization that that was part of it. So that's a hard thing, right? You should never put your kids in a position of being something for you as a support that they're not supposed to be, right? Husbands and wives support each other. You shouldn't go to your kid and need them to fill your tank up. It's the other way around, right? There's a difference between loving and supporting and caring for your kids and then leaning on them and expecting them to give you something back, right? That's very, very, very different. So yeah, we should just I just thought I'd say it. So now back to what she just said, it doesn't make a lot of sense, obviously, but for her to constantly, especially right here, there's nothing more important in this entire world than me. I'm the only one she wanted to tell about this. I'm the only one that deserves to know. I'm the only one that ever helped her in the past with the kids. And now I'm the only reason she's alive, right? That's kind of like what she keeps kind of hinting at almost. And it's a very, very deep pulling into the deep part of your heart, because that the kid in you is like struggling with that. But I have to realize that obviously it's more of a tactic to pull me in rather than actual truth, right? And that's a hard thing to separate, is this is not true. Not true at all. So you're not wrong about that. You are not wrong about that at all. Yeah. And it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that we're doing this dance where everything's a mirror and it comes back to me when it says, and I'm talking about her, everything comes back about her. Everything is full circle. So everything that exists and everything that's happening all revolves around Lori. That's a hard reality to get to. And I don't know. So let's keep going. We're doing good.
I love you. I've always loved you and cherish our relationship as eternal. I understand you being upset with me. I get it 100%. I don't blame you. But I want you to know that no matter what you've ever said about me or done or said on the video or anything negative, I forgive you. I don't hold it against you. I love you. I understand completely. And you will know one day, Colby, and you know. And that's all I can tell you. I love you more than anything. I miss being a part of your life and my grandchildren's life. I know why you're probably doing that, but we have an eternal relationship, Ava came to me the night before she was born. I didn't even know that Kelsey was due with the baby.
No, Kelsey's about to snap in the comments. Watch for it. Wait for it. This part of this call is so out of context, right? Has nothing in the world to do with my questions. I never asked her about visitations from my daughter, who was about to be born. This is so far off base of her bringing my daughter in and saying, yeah, my daughter, Ava, left the womb to come comfort you in the spirit world and whisper sweet nothings to you about what an amazing person you are. So it always is. Every visitation is now an affirmation of you're the one. It's all about you. So this is such an odd thing to throw in here. I'm trying to really understand if these are real encounters that she's having with these spirits, if she's having literal delusions, if she's dreaming this stuff, or if it's all conjured in her own mind and she's just able to, I guess, daydream it, or what's that word? Guys, there's a word for that when you is it lucid dreaming? I think it's lucid dreaming. It's basically where you can like train yourself to go into a state of dreaming while being awake so you can control it. Upside down. I told you Kelsey's about to go off. I told you. You don't want to get her going. Since day one, I'm in Idaho, so of course. Thank you, Buffy. Appreciate that. Seriously. Yeah, this was a really odd comment. It's so out of pocket. It has nothing to do with our conversation at all. So where are we going here with this? So let's finish this part real quick and we'll talk a little bit more about it.
And she came to me the night before she was born, and I held her as a baby in the spirit world, and she told me that we had loved each other for eons of time, and that she loved me so much, and the joy that filled me when I held that little baby filled me. Colby, she came to me because she knew that you wouldn't let me see her and you wouldn't let me talk to her.
Oh,
but
now
she
it's
said
me?
our relationship
My
is
fault.
eternal, and she loved me, and I'm her grandma whether you like it or not. She said, I'm your grandma whether my parents like it or not. And so there is a purpose in all this, and I'm sorry it's been hard on you, honey. I love you so much, and I'm sorry this has been awful. I pray for you every minute. I was crying in church one day, and I was sitting there
Do
crying.
you hear how much the word I and me is in this? Right? It's so much me and I and everything, and it's just constantly referring back to herself, and everything about me somehow still goes back to her. Everything about my own kids goes back to her. Everything about my siblings goes back to her. There's never a point where anything is just normal. It has to somehow connect to her and then how it affected her. And the really interesting thing is why did Ava leave the womb? Because she's alive in the womb. So she leaves the womb and she as a baby. So how'd she talk to you if she was a baby and talked to you? What are we doing right now? What is happening? She comes to you as a baby and then tells you that me and Kelsey will not let you see her, so she had to come and slip away for a special visitation. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? I mean, can we not see how ridiculous this is? Like, I don't know. What are we talking about? It doesn't make any sense. It's never going to make any sense. But to sit there and pitch this to me and then just move on from it. Yeah. Have you guys ever seen Boss Baby? This is so stupid. It's so stupid, bro. My gosh. My gosh. What are we doing in life? Okay. Usually I try to keep those type of opinions to myself, but man, frick it. We're here. We're talking it out. It's also just it is really hard because why would you try to prove that point? There's no way, shape, or form I believe that Ava did that. So that's been the case this whole conversation. I'll believe anything you're saying. I just want to know what she thought was going to happen. I just wanted to know if she thought was going to what she thought was going to happen. So I don't know. Oh boy. Oh boy. Are we really going to start talking about this? There's no portals. Shut it down. This isn't a video game here. It's not happening. And how do you believe that too? How do you believe that there are these portals that you're traveling through? How are you doing this all? This isn't you're not Doctor Strange. Slow your roll. Okay. All right, let's keep going.
About you, and I was worried about you. And Jesus came next to me and he said, why weepest thou? And I said, you know why I'm worried about Colby. I love Colby so much. And he said, you love him. Let me lead him. I've got this. I've got him. I know him like I know you. So I have left you in his capable hands, and I know he has taught you. And I'm sorry if he hasn't given you comfort where I am concerned, and maybe it's not time yet, but he will. I promise you, he will. And you will all see, and everyone will know, but I want you to know how much I love you. I've always loved you, and I love those babies, all of them. And I'm sorry that you feel like you have to keep them from me. I would love to have a relationship with you and with them, but you would have to do what you have to do. But I promise you, you will know that all of this is his purpose.
Okay. I'd like to give you my piece as well, because I don't know how much longer this is going to go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay.
It was cut out.
I wish more than anything that I had my family. I prayed and was so grateful when my daughter's being born, Riley, that she was going to have a family and aunts and uncles and grandparents on both sides and people to love and support her. And then one day, everybody was gone and everything was gone. I also turned to Christ.
Oh my gosh, guys.
I believe that Christ was preparing me for what was going to happen. And you and I do not see eye to eye at all when it comes to belief in Jesus. We don't. I don't believe, and I've really searched. I didn't just make a conclusion. I'm not someone that does that. I really take my time. And I took my time. I read the New Testament. I read Revelations. And nothing that I've seen is godly or connected to God.
I don't know how you guys are making me laugh during this. Yeah, that's tough. Because it's trying to affirm your position of your relationship with Jesus and that he's appearing to you and you're trying to validate yourself over and over and over. I think that's the point of this, the conversation. I think that's what she's getting. I think that's why she's bringing it up, because she said she's talking about me now. So she's trying to, I think in this moment, she's trying to, again, connect to me. And she's saying, I was worried about you. And Jesus came to me and said, I'm going to take care of this. I got him and I love him like I love you. So it's not even just like Jesus said, I love him. It's I love him like I love you. You, Cole. I mean, Lori. It's always the same thing. It's just a big circle. So it's definitely tough. But yeah, I think she's trying to validate herself to me that she's seen Jesus a lot of times. I think that's what is so hard about this conversations, because she's really, that's the number one thing she really talks about this whole time is all these visitations that she's had and all of these things.
God, and people can say what they want to say. I always dig deeper. I know I'm not going to take someone's word for something. I'm going to go try to dig deeper and find things out. I based it off of what I knew about you, and none of it ever added up. And you used to ask me on the phone if I would have received information or clarification or something of that nature. I never did.
Okay, so I'll give you guys backstory on this. We were having conversations before they found the kids, and she would constantly be like, have you been praying? Have you received anything? And I'm like, no. What are you talking about? I think she assumed, or whatever the case was, maybe even just wanted a spiritual entity to appear to me and validate her. I think that's what she was waiting for that whole time. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, no, I know everything. I think she just really wanted something to happen spiritually, which we're not on the same page at all. And I was actually really interested. And this is another thing we touched on a little bit earlier in the stream. But this is what made me so interested about the religious aspect of this, because I started reading Revelations. I was trying to understand her. I was trying to really get an understanding of what her mindset was. And so I was reading the New Testament at the same time. I think I just said that. But I was really studying, trying to figure out, is there anything that you've said that is real? Is there any basis in this and that? And no, she just took all of her LDS church beliefs and then whatever Chad said, and then a bunch of books, and then a bunch of things, and just started mixing witchcraft and everything into it, and just made a new pot and made a new religion. And now she's trying to stand on that as if this was always Jesus's plan for her life, and this was always what she was signed up to do, and trying to validate herself with multiple visitations and telling me constantly that this is not the first time that she's ever had these experiences with Jesus. I think that's what it is. That's my take on it. And it's crazy, because why would Jesus says in the Bible himself, a house split against itself cannot stand. So if you're serving Jesus Christ, but nothing that you say or do represents Jesus, how are you serving him? And if he's your Jesus, if you call him my Jesus, there's a real problem here. It's your own version of whatever you think Jesus is. All right. We're doing good.
And then all my dreams following that were dreams of me either delivering you from demons or me yelling at you at the top of my lungs. And you were not the same in my dreams. And you were not the same person. And I had to accept the fact that I lost my mom too. I had to accept that. But with that being said, with you being there, I need to tell you this. You did raise me.
When I said that, I was telling her, with you being there, meaning you're enough here, you're alive. And I was basically telling her, with you being there on the other side of the phone, I'm going to say this. Just want to put that out there real quick.
Took care of me, took care of my needs. You tried to protect me the best you could. And I'm grateful for what you did for me when I was a child. But I will tell you this situation does put us at odds. And I can't sit here and say that I agree with you. I can't even really.
Let's pause real quick. I keep seeing this too. Visions of Glory. From what I understand, the Visions of Glory is a book about Joseph Smith and something to do with his life. I think it's his story, but it's also fiction. You guys can correct me in the chat if you know. But it is a very standard book in the church. And I think it's about Joseph Smith. That's the basis of what I know. Or maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe I just misspoke. If I'm wrong, you guys can fact check me, but I'm almost positive that's what I remember. But it's something of that nature. But again, we've talked about this, guys. We'll probably make a whole video on this exact thing, is how pop culture has played a role in this case. And I think that it's very interesting to me because there's a lot of things you can reference in books and stuff of that nature that really, I guess, influenced a lot of this. And my main question, obviously, and since she just denied it, I still have the same question. Where did you get the zombies idea? Right? How did you even accept any of this information? Because somebody has to tell you this stuff, and then you get to make a decision on if you're willing to even think and ponder and pray about that. Because if you know it's not biblical, then you have to have some type of red flag. Be like, well, that belief doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound like something I've ever heard. So, okay, explain yourself. And, you get to choose if you accept it. So it's not about Joseph Smith, someone said. Sorry, it's going fast. I'm trying to read it. Anyway, I lost it. I'm sorry. But we're going to keep going. We're doing great, guys. 50 minutes. We made it. 10 minutes. It's only been, how long has our stream been going? It's been 48 minutes, and we made it through 10 minutes of the video. We're doing really good tonight. Good pace.
Understand where this side's coming from. I don't wish pain or anything on you. I have no malice towards you. Zero. But I do want you to find comfort.
I didn't know that.
Malice towards anyone.
No, and I won't. Then I do 100% forgive you. I forgive you. And I'm not going to hold you in a jail cell of my heart, but you cannot be a part of my children's lives. And I think you need to understand why. Because you and I can't even be a part of each other's lives. Because I don't feel like I know you anymore. And I don't want to hurt you by telling you that, but I don't want to lead you on.
Well, how is that forgiveness? How is that
Forgiveness is a choice of forgiving. It doesn't mean you keep going. It doesn't mean that. And if you and I are this different on our beliefs of what happened to my family, then how could we ever even conversate? I can't sit here and pretend like this isn't what it is. And I hate all of it. And I hate that you are still suffering in some way. But at the same time, I understand it. You and I do not agree. And I can't say, even listening to you, I don't feel that conviction in my heart that that's what happened. But that's what you think happens. That's what you say happens. And you know what? I wasn't there. but I know what I feel, and I have my own spiritual intelligence, and I have my own ability to search and ponder. And I guess this leaves us to a place where all I can ever know is that I will find out one day in heaven, and that's all I could ever say about it, because you and I cannot agree on these things. I do not wish harm on you. I saw you in that courtroom, and I wish I could have talked to my mom. I wish I had my mom there. I wish I had my brother and my sister.
Yeah, maybe we'll make a separate video about some of this other stuff. I didn't really think about it till just now. But yeah, there's just a lot of thoughts that have gone in behind all of this stuff. This this conversation was really eye-opening, obviously, because when I saw her there, I was so mad, but like it felt very surreal because imagine you don't see your mom anywhere but TV or YouTube thumbnails, and then all of a sudden you're there for her trial and you know why you're there. And that's why I started crying every time. I mean, it's just the hardest thing you could ever imagine doing is being in that room at the same time and trying to have that conversation. But yeah, I sat there and I remember thinking like, I know you, but I don't know you anymore. And that was part of that acceptance of like someone who's alive but gone. And you have to realize that they're not there anymore. They are not there anymore. So you have to take your time with it. You have to process it, and it's just going to take a long time. But this whole conversation, even to this point, I feel like I gave my piece to her, regardless of what her response was for myself. This was the first time that I processed how I felt, and I needed to say certain things for my own sake. So that was why I did it. That's why I did it.
Sister to look at all my kids. I wish my dad was here and being a part of it. I wish my family was here, and they're not. And you're gone too. And that hurts. It hurts. But I want you to know I don't have a harmful bone in my body towards you. I am mad and I'm upset. But this is something you and I cannot agree on. And I need to set that base now. We do not agree on that. I want to make sure that somehow, some way, you're not stuck in this place forever. Because I don't know what you think. People have said that you have a delusional disorder of hyper-religiosity. And you know what?
Because if you tell anybody you've had a visit from Jesus, that's what they say. That's what psychological world says. But I am not crazy. I never was. When I was at the hospital, I met lots of people who were. And
I'm not crazy. I never was. Okay. What do you do with this? I couldn't even finish. I never got to finish a thought. That's just what it is. Anyway, sorry. Let's keep going. That's just stupid.
I wouldn't call them crazy, but they have mental disorders, and I do not.
Okay.
I'm thinking about all the prophets who said they saw Jesus. They said, well, and they're mad. Like, well, if it came to you, why doesn't he come to me? Why doesn't he come and tell me this stuff, right? It's the Sadducees and the Pharisees. It's all of that.
Nobody's saying that. Nobody said that to you. Nobody's jealous. Nobody's mad that Jesus came to you and told you a bunch of stuff and they didn't. The problem with this whole thing she just said is that the whole point is why Jesus was public, why he went public at some point, was also so there would be more witnesses to what he was doing. Because that's what the validation was. He didn't force anybody to believe it. He just did the signs, the wonders, the miracles, and people got to choose. So for her to talk about how everybody else is Sadducees and Pharisees doesn't make any sense, because no one's mad that you were having these experiences and they're not. It's nothing you're saying has anything to do with Jesus. And it's that simple. Nothing you're saying is good or is something that Jesus has taught.
Okay.
What I'm upset about hearing your statement is that it's the first time I realized, and I'm sorry for you, honey, because I love you so much, but
thank you,
it's
Coco.
the first time I realized that when Jesus asked me to be like Job, that you're also having to be like him, because I know you lost everything.
Thank you, Vallow.
And all at once. But you have your wife, you have your beautiful children, you have your life still. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that you have a support system with Kelsey and her family. I'm grateful that you have that. I'm grateful that the kids have that. And this is my mission, and my mission will be revealed to everybody at some point, and including you. And at that time, I just want you to know, I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm just going to say I love you.
Why would you say that, bro? Why would you say that? Oh, yeah. I don't even know if it's worth. I don't know if it's even worth saying. Ridiculous statement. And I didn't realize multiple times just in our conversation here is you will come to know, and the whole world is going to know. So everybody at some point will be revealed how important she truly is, and how important her mission on this earth is, and how important everything she's doing is. So here goes Kel. I'm giving her a little voice over here, trying to find her. You guys' chats are going pretty fast, but I'm trying to read what you're saying too. But yeah, definitely just for you to say on that day, I'm not going to rub it in your face. I'm just going to say I love you. I'm just going to prove a point. And then the laugh. Again, always laughing like it's a joke, like it's funny. We're at a point where everything's so funny. And we're lighthearted here. Like, are you having fun? Is this a fun conversation? Because at no point have I given you the green light that I'm on your side or we're on the same team. Have I? I haven't greenlit a single thing. So we're not together, and we're not best friends, and I don't agree with you. So what's funny? What's funny? I really don't understand that. I really am trying to process all this stuff still. Oh, she's ready to meet that baby. You know how it goes in that last couple weeks, last couple days, actually. All right, we're doing good, guys. Almost done.
I want you to know that
Not funny.
I did conduct this obviously like an interview, and I want you to know that I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with this, but I want you to know that my plan was to have this conversation and give you this piece for the public at some point, and that's what I want you to know. So that is the plan, for you to have said what you never got to say publicly.
I wanted you to know how much I love you, and whether you reciprocate that or not. I mean, I know you love me, but whether you want to have a relationship with me or not, that's up to you. That's 100% you. So I respect all of your wishes. I know you're a grown man now, and you can make your own decisions, but I would ask you.
Why are you asking me? And this is what hurt me right here, this part, because she's crying. She sounds like my mom a little bit. And I had to really pull myself. This type of stuff I'd pull myself out of. It's all the little moments of pulling me in slowly. And it was this little cuts. But at some point you find out you're bleeding out. Does that make sense? Like little tiny bits at a time until finally all of a sudden you're bleeding. And you're like, whoa, there's a million little cuts all over my body. That's what it felt like. But I had to pull myself out of this afterwards, because in the moment it's very tough. This is a conversation I haven't talked to her in years. And here she is begging me to pray about it and to think about it, and really wants to be there for me. And this is where that really was being stuck in. So yeah, this was really where it was hard for me personally.
I would ask you now, Jesus, tell you the suffering that has been for for me in the past 5 years so that you will know that there's nothing that I could have done different that would have had a different result for you to lose everyone. There's nothing I could have done. Only complete my mission. And there's a totally different attitude in heaven than there is here because they realize this is just a short time and it's temporary. The things that we do there are eternal and have eternal importance. But your relationship with me is eternal. So that's the only reason I would ask you to even pray about that, Colby. All I ever wanted for you is to have peace about it. I know you lost everybody. I'm sorry that you did. It was not my choice, and it was not what I wanted for you at all. I wanted the same thing for the kids. I wanted everybody to be happy, but that's not what this life is about, apparently. It's certainly not what Job's life was about. But in the end, what did they give Job? They give him everything back and more. So we'll see how Jesus wants to handle that. He hasn't told me when that is going to be, but he did come to me on February 2nd in this jail this year, and he said many things to me, and he told me to write them down. And when I wrote them down, he said, one of the things he told me.
Yeah. Our conversation obviously went nowhere. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. Oh, Megan's here. Hi, Megan. I just saw your chat. This is all right. I'll just give you a full breakdown. I don't know if you guys want to watch this next part. This is just my reaction right after. If you guys want to talk about it, I can. Obviously, I just lost my stuff after this, but yeah, just let me know if you guys want to watch the rest of it. Just a couple more minutes. But I realized how much she brought up Jesus. I realized how much she just really pulled me. And it's really hard because, I mean, I never want anybody to try to put themselves in my shoes or like say, put yourself in these shoes, but just really try to think about your mom. Like no matter what your mom has done, your dad has done, there's a part of you, I guess. And Dr. John was really an instrumental piece of saying this. The clearest way I think I've heard is that there's just a part of you that will never go away. That just no matter how bad your parent has been, that you just want to be loved by them. And that is a really, really hard realization, is that when you can't receive that and your heart's just being pulled in a million directions, the only thing you can do at that point is say, what's the truth here? And then once you get back to ground and you're out of the emotions, you can process through it. That's what it is. So anyway, let's do this. If you guys want to finish it, you can put ones in the chat. If you guys want to finish the interview. If not, we can just kind of go through chats here and we can talk a little bit more. That's kind of the ending of the interview. The rest of it is just my reaction to that. We can talk about that without having to watch it too. But all right, we're getting ones in here. All right, why don't we do this? It's just a few more minutes. Let's finish it. I'll tell you guys my thoughts. We probably will just watch this whole thing all the way through. It gets very emotional, as you guys probably know. If you've probably already seen this, if you haven't, it gets very emotional at the end of this. This was just kind of the full release, right? The raw reaction following the conversation. So let's do that. Under your scars, Colby is just like my adult son. You're 20 off. Thank you, and I'm sorry for that. It is it's hard. It's definitely hard, guys. Like your channel name too. All right, let's finish this out, guys. I think the phone calls were spotty. Phone calls are really spotty. She was trying to see if she was going to call back. I feel like we didn't really end it. My raw reaction right now is I just spoke to my mother for the first time in 4 years. And I feel like
That was the hardest I've ever fought to not respond. I made a decision in the beginning, before I interviewed her, that I would not try to rebuttal her. And the reason being is there's no point. It would have been just a defense mechanism thrown up. There would have been no conversation. It would have been chaos, and it wouldn't have been a conversation.
Exactly.
I can't tell you how shocking that is. I don't think I'll ever have an interview with someone that was harder than that. I'll tell you that right now. I would have rebutted everything that she said. I'm still shaky and emotional. I'm just going to give this to you guys really raw, because this is what we need in life, is more of real stuff, not just edited and cut. That was the really hard conversation. She's so convicted of her truth and her reality. She truly believes what she says. She begged to be in my life. It's so hard, bro, because she's, that's your mom. You just want to trust someone. You want to love them. You can't do it. I can't explain it to her the way I wish I could. Of course, I want my mom to be a part of my life. Of course, I miss my family. But, that can't happen. That can't happen, man. Her belief is so far off. I didn't even get to really ask the questions I had for her. It just turned into a conversation. I was very organized before, tried to keep it very clear, and it just didn't work out that way. This is one of the hardest things I've had to do, is have that conversation. My sister did not kill my brother. She didn't. Put it on her. It's so unfair. It's so unfair to Tylee. She would never do that. I don't care how mad she was, how upset she was, how hurt she was, and she was being put through hell, being moved around, and after everything that happened to my dad, she didn't even have a chance to breathe. And to blame her. This is the world. This is the time's fault. Damn. All right, let me pull myself together here. This isn't Tylee's fault. She didn't do that. She didn't hurt JJ. She didn't do that. So that's not the truth. That's not the truth. And I guess I have to accept how delusional my mom is.
Thank you, Meekin.
This is not real. There's no even slight evidence that Tylee did that. And it just hurts to blame her after she was brutally taken. Who knows exactly how. JJ was taken, Tammy was taken, Charles was taken. They were taken. It wasn't an accident. I'm going to have to process this.
Thank you, Tony.
Obviously. Yeah, I didn't get to say goodbye to her. I feel like I said my piece. You heard what she had to say. So that's about it. I'm a mess right now. But I'm not going to let that be the narrative. Tylee didn't do that. But I didn't rebuttal her because I knew it wouldn't go anywhere. I tried that. I was very confrontational with her, and I just got doors in my face. I knew I had to come in and just ask questions. Not come in with an angle. Not just say my piece. I said my piece at the end. I feel like she heard what I had to say as well. This was the heaviest thing I've ever done. Thank you guys for watching this. This is not easy to share. But I say that right now because I'm feeling the gravity of this.
Good question. Good question, Zach.
I'm feeling the gravity of this fully. So I just want to say thank you guys for supporting.
Thank you, Marn.
Supporting me, my family. And I did my best. I did my best to talk to her. So, anyway, thank you guys. I love you.
All right, guys. Well, yeah. Yep. I'll be honest. That was the part I didn't know if I would even share that. I was going to just play the interview and then let everybody just see that part because that's obviously what we're going to do. And then I thought that was a really important part of it because as uncomfortable as some people get, I think, with a lot of emotion like that, and it made me, it didn't make me uncomfortable just sitting here and knowing that we're watching that. It just puts you in position to realize, like, you know, you don't ever want to be that vulnerable and give that part of yourself out. But I felt like it was just a reality of what happened. You know, like I feel like, yeah, there's moments where I started to tear up and started crying. And to be honest with you guys, I haven't really cried that much in the last year plus. And then that was one, like, I just remember that's one of the first times I can like say I really cried and it was all coming out at once. So with that being said, that part was really vulnerable, really raw. And I just think it had to be thrown in there because of what the circumstances are. I mean, what else are you supposed to do? You know. Thank you guys for watching and being a part of it. Thank you for going to that place with me. It's not fun. It's not easy, and being vulnerable can suck a little bit because you know you're putting yourself out there. You know that it's really good for people to be a part of it, but you know that there's always going to be people who don't like when you're vulnerable and don't talk about stuff. So I just think it was the reality of what happened right after, and I think that it took me just days and days to really function and just really pull through and really try. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate you saying that. I hope you do too, man. You guys are awesome. I don't think that there's a lot of what we're doing here, I think is kind of, I guess, a little bit groundbreaking. And I'm not saying that to sound cool or sound like I'm special. I think it's one of those things that when you go down this path and you're willing to talk more about stuff like this and go down the really hard roads and you do it together, you know, I think that that's a beautiful thing. And I think that that's reality, you know, because right now you can go on and watch whatever you want, talk about whatever you want. But reality is we're all emotional beings. We've all gone through traumatic things. We've all experienced hardships. And sometimes you feel alone. And sometimes you are lost. And sometimes you're questioning things. Sometimes you're spiritually confused. You have anxiety, depression, whatever it is. And it's just nice to know that you aren't alone and that other people are human beings and that you're not the only person that feels that way. So we need each other. I think that's a big deal. Thank you, Jam. Tears cleanse the soul. Absolutely. Not fun to cry though. But here we are, guys. Here we are. We did it. We made it. We made it through. I'm so glad we made it through. That was a very hard video and series to do. Do you guys like doing live reactions? Has that been fun for you guys? I like it a lot more than just doing the reactions as they are, because we get to laugh a little bit, break up the tension a little bit. But Colby, this was so brave. Wishing your family much peace and love. Thank you, Evelyn. Wishing the same for you and your family. Thank you, Gina. Yes, it is good for you. If you guys want to go a little bit deeper here, I'll be honest with you. I get very. I'm learning how to process how I feel about things, and I think that as a man, it is hard to really acknowledge your emotions and your feelings, because there's a lot, and it's just this big pile of stuff. And especially when you guys probably know, as your life progresses, if you really don't go back and deal with some of the stuff behind, it's still there. That pile is exactly the way it was, and it's still there. So it really is one of those things that you have to eventually be willing to process, and that is scary. Opening that door, it's scary to process this stuff. It's scary to open yourself up to your own self, to acknowledge your own feelings, and not everybody's ready for that, and not everybody's comfortable with that. But that's where we're at here. We're all in different parts of our journey, and we're all learning and growing, and we all have to. I think we're meant to carry each other's burdens together. And I feel that here with our community. I feel that with our channel here, because here you guys are. It's a, what is it, a Friday night, and we're hanging out. This is where I want to be, hanging out with you guys. I mean, I wish Kels was in here, but she's in the chat, so I guess it counts. But I just feel inspired to say this as well to you guys. Some of you guys might be going through the hardest parts of your life right now, and I want this channel to be a place for you. I don't want you to feel alone. I did. And I know I had a lot of people reaching out and praying, and I'm not ever taking away from what anybody was trying to do in that time, but I did feel alone. And I felt like the world was crumbling around me. And it was the hardest thing ever. And there was so much that I didn't know how to keep going. And if I didn't have Kelsey, I didn't have Riley and Ava, I really don't know how I could have made it. I'm getting emotional right now because I owe them a lot. We're slow roll. We're not doing it. I'm not going to cry. I'm going to make a t-shirt called I'm a Crier. Gosh, tears just love to come up, huh? But I just wanted to say that. All right. Colby, you're a really remarkable young man. Your willingness to be vulnerable with others is true gift. We're all learning. Love you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. You guys have been so graceful and amazing. Freaking love you guys. Can't say it enough. I'm not saying that to be stupid. I wish I could meet you all and we could do this live, hanging out in real life. Do more lives. Okay, Faith. How was the tech tonight? Do we have any issues here? Normalize therapy. Yeah. It's very taboo, isn't it? We got some real men cry. Love that. Love that. Truth. How about people cry in general? We're human beings. This life is hard. We got a new member. Welcome, Andrea. She's a warrior now. She can call herself a warrior. Therapy is awesome. Exactly. Yeah. And guys, let me go ahead. I'm just going to say it as a man, straight up. There's nothing wrong with therapy. There's nothing weak about therapy. There's absolutely nothing that you are doing. TV kind of goes, I'm not going to talk to a shrink. I'm not going to go talk to somebody. What could you do better is try to figure out your stuff, right? We're all learning and growing, and it just takes time and grace to live this life. It takes time and grace to learn how to be an adult, to learn how to handle life, to learn how to do all this stuff. So it's worth it. It's worth it. And would you rather deal with your baggage now or when you have 10 times more? That's my only question I pose. And I had to learn the same thing. It's not just going to just drop off and go away. It's not. So I'm saying that's all to everybody, though. And guess what? It doesn't mean you're what. There's a weird stigma there. Why is that a bad thing? There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with going to therapy and talking out your feelings and being vulnerable and feeling your feelings. If you have to freaking cry for 2 weeks, cry for 2 weeks. Do it. Get it out. If you need to be angry and you need to go to one of those rooms where you take the bat and you start hitting the TVs and whatever's called a break room or rage room, do it. Find an outlet that's healthy. I'm not incentivizing to do it otherwise. Find a healthy outlet and start letting that stuff go. So just thought I'd put that out there. Love you guys. Thank you for hanging around for the tangent. We had fun. We had fun. We had it was hard. It was fun. It's like real life, right? Just all over the place. We got a Lemir's latte over here, shirt. Nice favorite shirt here. Thank you guys for spending your Friday night with me. Love you. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you guys. All right. Well, since you guys like the streams, I've really loved doing the streams. We'll keep doing them. I think that'd be really, really nice. We'll keep doing it. And we'll keep going forward. I like these streams. We can talk to each other. We can actually interact. Coco's a new member. Thank you to all of our members tonight. Thank you guys for your chats. Thank you for your super chats. Thank you guys for thank our mods. Well, I'm thanking our mods. We have a bunch of new mods too. You guys did a great job. And I just appreciate everybody being here tonight. We will continue to announce things on the community tab. I will let you guys know when we're going live as soon as possible so that way you guys can be here. We can hang out. We can do this. I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you for walking through something so hard in my life with me and being so unbelievably supportive. I mean that from the literal bottom of my heart. You guys are so supportive, so great. I'm just so blessed to be in this community with you and I'm part of this because you guys are awesome and incredible. And I wish I could, give you guys all the time to respond to every single one of your comments because what you're saying matters. But anyway, either way, I'm grateful you're here, grateful that you're putting your piece in there, and thank you guys for being vulnerable and being a part of this journey. So I love you. Have a great night, and I will keep you guys up to date when we go on to another stream, and we'll just keep going forward. Let you guys know what's going on. So seeing you guys' chats. All right. Anyway, love you guys. Thank you so much.